Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Whiskers Fox and this is another epic fantasy video. Today we're doing a basic beginner's guide. This won't be comprehensive, I'm not going to cover everything in the video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover just the very basics that you need to know and some basic advice for the game when you're starting. And I'm also going to go over like what the basic content is in the game. But I'm also going to be releasing in a couple of days a general tips and tricks video that will apply more across the length of the game. I'm about halfway through the adventures in the game, and you unlock more things as you go further and further. So the tips and tricks video will have tips for a little bit further in the game, as well as some beginner tips as well. But without further delay, let's jump right in. If you guys enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe. It really helps my channel out. And let's see what we can get into today. Alright, so if you are just starting the game, if you're watching this and you haven't even started playing, I'm going to cover a few things for you guys first. And this is just kind of a beginner's tutorial of like some advice for the very beginning. You're going to have choices for 3 separate starters. You're going to have Cha-Cha, which is this one right here that I don't have. You're going to have Gallard right next to her, who's a healer. And you're going to have Lancelot, which is the tank, and Cha-Cha is a dealer. I would suggest either Gallard or Lancelot. If you want a little more information on it, you can check out my very first video I did that goes over the starters and why I think which ones are better, as well as a little bit of team composition stuff in that video. So I would recommend Gallard or Lancelot, though, to keep it simple. Another piece of advice for you when you're first starting the game is once you beat Chapter 2, Stage 15, Stage 15, you will unlock 4 times play as well as autoplay. So when you're doing missions, like if you're just doing the regular campaign here or the adventure, you'll be able to click autoplay right there, which will continue to go until you lose, just stage after stage, which is nice. And you also unlock 4 times speed, so make sure you're on 4 times speed from there on, and that'll be very helpful to speed up your gameplay. And once you beat Chapter 3, you should have enough gems or crystals for your first 10 pull. And then you can come over here and you can do your 10 times pull, and then you can start slotting in whoever you get from those pulls and equipping whatever gear you acquired during those first 3 chapters onto the people that you want. And that's kind of when you can start doing your team building, is after 3. So once you're going in the game, there's quite a bit to do. I'm going to cover all the stuff that I currently have to do that's relatively early game. You won't have all this unlocked right away, but you will unlock this within your first couple of days of playing if you're playing, doing as much as you can each day for the most part. So you have the primary adventure that I just showed you guys. There is a hard mode adventure, but you won't unlock that. I haven't even unlocked that yet, so it's going to be a bit for you guys if you're just starting. But you have the normal adventure, which you just hit challenge on the bottom right. You can choose your squad in your squad settings, which it will walk you through in the tutorial. But make sure that you are choosing your squads, filling out your squads with the people that you want, and then you can just hit challenge and go from there. You can also start from the squad page. So once you choose your squad, you can hit start battle. And you can see that you actually have 2 choices for teams here. So you can, if you have a main team that you like using, you can mess around on a second team and not, mess up your first team sequence. So you have a second one that you can kind of mess around with. You have, not the arena. You have the Tower of Challenge. This is kind of like the main tower of the game. Other games have, certain types of towers. This is kind of the main tower of the game. You use your full teams and you just go through as many as you can. And there's a lot of them. You can see how many I've cleared. And there's still a lot more. So there's a lot of towers. You have the arena, which is a pretty typical arena. You go in there, you get 5 free resets per day. It's pretty easy to do that. Your dungeons, there's 2 specific dungeons on the top and on the bottom here. The top one is for golden XP, and you can see you only get to do that twice per day. The bottom one is for artifact resources, and you only get to do that 10 times per day. The 3 middle ones are for gear, and you can see there's the shoes, the weapons, and the chest pieces. So there's the 3 pieces of gear there. And then there's also, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to raids, because this is where your other 2 pieces of gear are, your helmets and your jewelry pieces, as well as another limited 30 per day farming area, but this is for blessings, which you don't unlock until later in the game, so this won't be relevant to anybody that's pretty new to the game. You have your guild stuff, which once you get in you're going to want to get in a guild because you do get resources from doing guild stuff. So you have a guild war, which is pretty much a daily PvP battle against another clan. So you just go in there and you choose specific people to fight with, and then you battle out against the clan, which is pretty cool. And there's also the guild raid, which is like a boss. So you all work on doing damage to the boss, and you get resources based on how much damage you do. So make sure you try and get in a guild as quickly as possible and help your guild out, do your guild wars, etc. The shop is pretty self-explanatory. If you want to spend money, you can. The only thing I want to point out here is the ad shop. There's 3 different things that you can watch ads for every day. I would recommend doing these. I haven't unlocked the ordeal yet, so I'm not sure what these are for, but make sure you're watching your ads and getting your free resources from that. Hero book, make sure you're claiming your first summon gift. So you can see right here, every time you get a new hero in here, you get a little bit of crystals for summoning them for the first time. Make sure you're doing that. Obviously, summons is where you do all your summons. So you have your primary hero summons. That won't be anything for you guys. You'll have summon tickets. This is where your choice tickets will go. So when you get to like choose like this ticket right here, an SR owned hero selection ticket. So I can choose a copy of somebody that I already own. So these are pretty important. Make sure that well, don't make sure you save them. If you want to save them for a little bit. Make sure that you're investing them into somebody that you're going to keep though, because you can't really get these back. They're just dupes of that person from then on. And there's currently an event going on right now, but sometimes there's events with increased probability summons for a specific SSR. So keep your eye out for that. You also get a SR ticket and an SSR ticket for every 50 and 100 summons respectively. So these are kind of like their pity system, because if you don't get anything, eventually you will get a copy of an SR and an SSR. And your heroes, pretty self-explanatory. This is where you go to level up your heroes, which we will cover in a little bit more depth in a minute. The training camp is part of your dailies, which we will also cover, but this is pretty much just farming the campaign over and over on repeat so that you can get the resources from it, because you can't replay these stages in the adventure. Quick hunting is just claiming auto rewards from the auto hunting, which, you know, that's like the AFK aspect. That's just when you're away from the game, it's constantly collecting up resources. So quick hunting, you get 1 free per day and you can claim 8 hours of rewards. I don't necessarily think that this is worth it. I wouldn't spend your gems here, your crystals. We already covered the raids up here on the top. So then you have the Tower of Hell right next to it. This is like the secondary main tower of the game, but you only use R and SR heroes. So you can only use everything except the highest tier of heroes. So it's a little bit more difficult. You can see if I go to challenge, you can see my team is only these gold people. You can't use SSRs, and you can see it's just not even there. It won't show them. So that's just a tower for SRs and Rs only. The Hell Dungeon right next to that. This is a quick little daily one that you can do for souls and for golden XP. This is one of the only places in the game that you can actually do something to get souls back, like farm it, but you can't farm it. You can't do it over and over. So this is one of the only battles that you do in the game that returns souls to you. And you only get a limited amount per day, but you only get 1 battle, so it's kind of a bummer. It would be nice if this was a little bit more so people could spend their resources there and farm it if they wanted to. But there's also the Hell Golden XP dungeon, so you can get a little bit of golden XP there. I would recommend doing both of these every day. And then we have the world boss, which is kind of like a just big boss. He gives you some rewards, like things for your pets when you eventually unlock pets, and he gives you some set equipment which you unlock later in the game. Pretty much you just go in here, choose your team, fight him a couple times. It's pretty quick. It doesn't take too long, which is nice. Make sure you're checking all this stuff on the left, especially when you're new to the game. You'll get a lot of achievements, like in these challenges and stuff, and that will get you a lot of crystals. There's currently some events going on, including some login ones. Make sure you're checking those and seeing what you get to claim from there. When you're doing your adventure, make sure you're clicking on the world map up here on the top right as well, and you can click receive all to get all these resources that you get from beating each adventure level. All right, now that we've covered that, let's go over the dailies. So the dailies are pretty self-explanatory. They just tell you what you need to do, and you just need to go do them. They can be done pretty quickly. I typically do them in about 20 to 30 minutes. It just depends on what resources you're willing to spend, particularly for the training camp. So for this first one, you have to do 100 training camp battles in a day. I would recommend purchasing the scrolls to make that quicker. If you want to understand this a little bit more, you can check out my first, I believe it was actually my second video that was on where to spend your crystals in game, and I talk about these different things that you can spend crystals on in here. But real quickly, the scrolls essentially make it so this takes 8 to 9 minutes instead of 4 to 5 hours to do 100 battles. So maybe buy the scrolls, maybe buy just, you know, a few of them, see how they work, check it out, see what's worth it to you. Depends on your time constraints, but you can check that out and just make sure you do your 100 battles per day. The daily achievements is just to complete 5 of these, so that one's not anything particular. Complete 3 dungeons, you can farm for some gear, or you can just do your 10 artifact dungeons and, you know, or your 2 of your gold XP ones and 1 of these, whatever. You just need to do 3 of these, but you can farm for gear if you want, whatever you want for those 3. Same thing for the raids. You need 3 raids, so you can do those 3 raids for a couple pieces of gear. You need to do your 2 world boss battles, which there are only 2 per day, so make sure you're doing those. Complete 3 guild wars. You get 6 battles per day in your guild war, so make sure once you're in a guild, make sure you're going and you're doing your guild war battles. You get, 25 arena battles per day, so make sure that you are winning 3 per day. It's pretty easy. I've never not completed this one. You typically get some easy opponents and you get some hard ones, so between your 25 though, it's pretty common that you'll get 3 easy ones to be able to beat. And then your dailies are done after that. You know, keep an eye on your weeklies. You'll get a lot of stuff from these challenges, like I said. And the last thing I want to go over is just some general how to make your teams stronger. This is pretty much the core of the game. No matter what you're trying to do, you need a stronger team. You always need a stronger team to progress in the adventure, to progress in the towers, to do better in the arena, to be able to farm higher gear. You need better teams. So let's go over just a little bit of team composition stuff and where to get the resources for it. So the first thing you can do to make your team stronger is to just rearrange your heroes. So try moving people around, learn what people do. If you're watching a team and you have a damage dealer on there and they're getting targeted right away and getting killed and then your team's just losing, you probably need some more tanks to try and soak up the damage so your damage dealer doesn't get targeted. Things like that. Just pay attention to what your team's doing. I would recommend trying to get 1 healer per team, especially as you start to get further in the game and the battles start to get drawn out. You need a healer in there to keep you going. So just work on adjusting your team, and in that same note, make sure you put in a good leader skill. I like the defense plus 20%. You can pick whatever you want. There's quite a few different ones, but make sure you pick a leader skill, something. If it's not going to be a good one, at least have something. You might as well have somebody with a leader skill in there. The next thing you can do, which is pretty obvious here, is to level up your heroes. So you can upgrade manually by clicking on the upgrade thing right here. This is for promoting, and then you can click right here to upgrade their levels, or you can just go to the quick growth and quickly grow them as strong as you're able to. As you can see, this guy's at 600 right now, and I'm able to take him to 620, and these are the resources it will cost. You can also upgrade your sphere level here. So there's the sphere, which is just additional stats and speed. You can also do that in quick growth right here on the bottom. So make sure that if you're doing your sphere, there's like 800 levels in it. So you don't want to do it 1 by 1. You want to come in here and do it 10 at a time, or you can choose 50 and choose 50 at a time, and it goes up by 50. So that's pretty helpful to have that in there. Now, when you need dupes for leveling, there's pretty much only 2 places to get them, and that's from the summoning pool, which when you're doing summons, make sure you set your preferred heroes. So down here on the bottom left, there's preferred heroes. Make sure you pick the people you want, because that increases the odds. It doesn't say how much the rate is increased, but it'll increase the rate that those people, you have a chance of getting those people. And it does seem to work, because I get a lot of these werewolves and a lot of Drytons, you know, so it does seem to work. And the other place that you can get dupes is from your summon tickets. So you will get these SR owned hero selection tickets, and you'll occasionally get an SSR owned ticket, and you can summon from there as well. Another way to increase your level for your hero, or to increase their strength, is to upgrade their artifact. So above sphere, there's artifacts. And these are pretty much just stat bonuses to your character. So you want to work on these. You're going to have to like pick and choose kind of which line you want to go, but ultimately you can do them all. It's not like a skill tree where you only get to pick one tree and go down it. You get to unlock all of these, but the left side and the right side in this beginning part are a little bit different. So just pick which ones you want, kind of upgrade them as you can, but these make a big difference. And then once you get your character to ascended, which means they have these red stars at, I think it's level 480, they become ascended, 460, then you unlock this second page here, and this is a lot of good stat bonuses in here. So make sure you're upgrading your artifacts. That helps a lot. Didn't need to leave that page. The next thing is to swap out your gear. So there's an auto mount system in this game, which is pretty nice. You can set it on the top left here, although I don't think you unlock this until a little bit later in the game, but you can set it to what you want it to prioritize. I personally don't use auto mount. I never really have. I did at the very beginning of the game, and I would recommend just using it at the very beginning of the game. But pretty quickly, the benefit from manually gearing becomes very apparent, and I like to manually gear everybody. It's just, that's one of my most enjoyable parts of the game for me. But so you can auto mount your gear so it puts on the best gear that you have, and then you can also upgrade your gear. So make sure you're upgrading your gear to, usually you just straight upgrade it to max. It's not super expensive to do it. So whatever gear you have on your heroes, you might want to wait a little bit from the beginning of the game to get some better stuff, and then upgrade some things, and it will help your team out. And then for manually gearing your heroes, I'm gonna really quickly just say, I personally pretty much only focus on 2 stats for every single character. One of them is always speed. I always want attack speed. And then the other stat is whatever their primary stat needed is. So this guy, for example, is a healer, and if you look at his skills, he instant heals based on 30% of his max HP, and his other skills are the same. They heal based on his max HP. So I just want him to go fast, and I want him to have really high HP for high heals. Those are the 2 stats for him. For somebody like Kurt, who's a damage dealer, I just want attack speed, and then if you look at his skills, he does most of his damage based on attack damage over magic. So I just want speed and attack on him, and that's pretty much it. You obviously could like stand to get some HP on your dealers as well, but I personally like to play it a little bit risky and do glass cannons for my healers and just make them hit as hard as possible. But if you look at my Sasquatch Magician, the healer, you can see double HP, double attack speed, double HP, double attack speed, double HP, double attack speed. That's what I consider like a perfect roll, is the double HP, double attack speed. But make sure you're paying attention to the primary stats as well, because certain pieces like weapons, jewelry, and boots have different primary stats as well. Your helmets and chest pieces do as well, but it's variable on the... Actually, your chest piece does not. Your helmet does as well on the effect resistance. You can get effect resistance or crit resistance. So take that into consideration if you're going to do any manual gearing. I would highly recommend it. It's really fun, and it does make a big difference in your team's account, or your teams. Now, for resources, when you're doing all of this stuff, if you need gold and XP, which are your primary 2 things here, you can do the golden XP dungeons, which are the hell dungeons, every day. When you do your training camp, you can claim these training potions for 100 for 100 for the crystals, and those will get you 4 times rewards from doing your 100 auto battles in the training camp. You also get quite a bit from just general progression by progressing in your adventure or by doing tower levels. So if you have progress to make, then you will earn resources through that. Also, another point when you're trying to work on your heroes is make sure that you're resetting people you're not using. I'm a little bit bad about that, but not too bad. I mean, you can see I essentially have 1 extra squad of people that are leveled up and 1 extra 100. But there's not a whole ton of resources into these people. I really just put resources into my main 15 and just go with that. If you need dupes for increasing your hero levels, I've already gone over that. You get it from the summoning or the summon tickets. And if you need souls, which are something that you will need, there's a few little tips and tricks for that. So there's obviously the hell dungeon where you can get some souls. You can reset heroes that you're not using. So if you go here and you go to reset, you can reset them and get 90% back of what you used to upgrade them. So you can get some souls back that way if you have people you're no longer using. There's also something in the training camp to get extra souls, and that's this soul essence. So if you spend crystals for that, you'll get 2 random souls per training session. So that's a way to get souls as well. And one of my favorite ways is if you save up your summon tickets for Rs. As you can see, I have 59. I currently just spent a lot of them, but I have 59 owned R selection tickets. And what you can do is you can go to your heroes, go to dismiss exchange on the bottom right, and then you can pick. So like right now, let's say I'm pretty low on fire ones, and I actually think I used them all. I have 2. Let's say I needed light. These ones are here, the yellow ones. You can choose your R heroes, you can choose light, and then you can just start getting rid of them. And there are a few Rs that are usable, so make sure you kind of pay attention, maybe check out their kits before you go deleting every single copy of them. But you can see you get 48 souls per R that you delete. So, you know, if I need 1,000 of these, I can come in here and just delete, you know, 20 people, and boom, I have 1,000, just like that. So you want to make sure, I like to save those R tickets until I know what kind of souls I need, and then I just summon a bunch of random fire Rs and then sell them for souls. And that's a really good way to get more souls. And the last way to get souls is if you go back, to the dismiss and exchange, and you go to the hero soul and exchange. On the bottom here, you can exchange souls for the cost of crystals. So if I really needed fire souls right now, I would select, say like I have way too many water. I'm gonna get rid of some of these water and turn them into fire souls. You can see I'm swapping water to fire. I choose how many, like if I wanted to do 2,000 of them, I can do that, but it's gonna cost me 500 crystals. So you can just straight out swap them, which I think this is a really nice option to have. I kind of wish it was maybe a little bit cheaper, but it's not that bad in my opinion. And while I'm here, the one last thing which I forgot to mention is when you're trying to get dupes, you get 1 free exchange per week for an SSR and an SR. So if you go to the Hero Soul Exchange, you can swap out 1 SSR that you don't want for any other SSR that you do want for free, 1 time a week. You can spend 3,000 crystals to do it 2 more times if you want. And you can also do that with an SR. So I'll actually do that real quick so you guys can see what it looks like. So let's get rid of, so yeah, I picked the SR. I'm gonna choose the material hero. So the person I wanna get rid of, it's gonna be this blue Sasquatch archer. And in his place, who should we get? Let's grab another Sasquatch magician. And then you exchange for free, 1 time. So that's pretty neat. That's a really cool way to, over time to get some dupes, and I didn't know about that for quite a while in the game, so make sure you're doing that as well. And with that, I think that we've covered just about all the basics. The last thing I want to mention is just make sure you're claiming all of your rewards. You get rewards from a lot of different places. From, you know, the arena, there's this thing on the left, the battle pass, where you get rewards. You get rewards for clearing stages, you get rewards for total power increases, you get crystals and rewards for a lot of different things. So just make sure you're claiming them. I mean, even as we speak, I have rewards sitting in my mailbox waiting to be claimed from Daily Reset. So just make sure you're claiming all your stuff. Spend it wisely. I like to save a little bit and then spend it when I need it. If you want to just spend it all right when you get it, go for it, but try and put it where you're going to need it. And with that, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like, please sub if it helped you out, and leave me a comment and let me know what other videos you guys want to see. I'm working on several different videos right now, but I would love to hear what you guys would like to see next. So leave me a comment, let me know what you guys would like, what kind of content or guides you guys would like to see with this game. And until the next one, thank you for watching. I've been Whiskers Fox. Peace out.